welcome to A Touch of Gray Matters. I'm Dave Sokoloski, and in this corner we have Barry 3D Carter. And in the other corner, weighing in at an impressive way, hailing from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Mr. Iron Thomas Patrice.
I'd like to say, first of all, it's really great to be here.
See, I was more leaning towards Iron Mike Sharp, where he just.
Sure that.
But no, you went Tyson.
I could pull up one of these. Well, I could pull up one of these. Well, Mean Gene, what's really gonna happen tonight is someday, somehow, some way, the Hulkster's gonna find you. The Hulkster's gonna find you. And what are you gonna do when these 22-inch pythons run wild on you? Sorry, it was deep inside. Down there with, yeah!
It's ain't deep like a priest and a boy. We're good.
Sometimes the Mutt Man has
you have to get moved around now.
What's that?
Never mind. It's okay. We'll talk over you. It's okay. Just you go off in your own little fucking world, and Barry and I will just carry the show and just talk around you and everything else. You keep throwing out the fucking impressions and everything else, and we have no problem with that. We will carry the conversation. Every once in a while, we'll stop to see who you're doing next, and then we'll just move on from there. Because I'm sure at some point in time, you're going to hit George the Animal Steel. You're going to start licking your fucking screen, and we're going to wonder what the hell's going
on. That's what's on my head for tonight. Not Thomas licking my head. Not Thomas licking my head. No. No.
That's a different show.
That's an OnlyFans account. Please see one of our last ones. What I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about.
Hold on for a second. I will not be subscribing to that OnlyFans. I can tell you that much right now. If I want to watch Thomas lick you, I shouldn't have to pay for
it. But you're the cameraman.
But millions of people will.
Again, I shouldn't have to pay for it, though. Just have Thomas stand behind you, stroking your fucking head, going, "Tell me about the rabbits. Tell me about the rabbits."
Burr rabbit in the burr forest.
George, with that, I will spank you and make you good. And when you're good, I will hug you and squeeze you and tell you I love you. But first, I lick your head.
So what I was thinking was I want to talk about what a love that we all share is wrestling. WWE, WWF. AEW. Not that kind of wrestling. I said not that. Okay, you need Jesus. Wrestling. I'm talking. No matter what I say, Tom will spin it the wrong way.
Way to go, Thomas! You freaked out the fucking dog. Your fucking comments made the dog go absolutely batshit and ran away.
She got nervous.
And I'm wearing a headset, so that tells you how loud you've been.
Oh my god! Right, but wrestling. We're all wrestling fans. Ring of Honor, New Japan that you're watching there, Dave. Anything. I think people. I love wrestling. I love the wrestling. I love the characters. I love the dynamics of it. And there's a storyline to it. And right now, I'm watching a lot of AEW. That's where my attention is focused right now.
I've heard wonderful things about that, and I have yet to see it. Unfortunately,
it's good, and they just had some big moments. So they just had a pay-per-view that just went by on Sunday, and and they got Paul White to sign over to them after being with the WWE for 22 years. He signed over, right? as a commentator, and not as just as a
Andre
wrestler.
the Giant's son signed with AEW.
Yes, he did. And not just as a wrestler, but as I like that comment, as a commentator, a talent manager. So he's over there right now. And just on Sunday, Captain Charisma Christian from Christian and Edge signed up at AEW. So they've got a strong, they got a strong lineup of new talent coming up that I didn't know about, and that I like. And they got some of the good old boys club coming over.
So is TNA still around?
Yeah,
I don't think so. It is.
no, they are. They are. TNA still around, and what they're doing is they're doing something what
So
us comic book
TNA
fans
was
will like,
Jeff Jarrett,
crossovers.
was it not?
Pardon me?
That was Jeff Jarrett's organization, right?
Yes, it started off with
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett as the head of that, and then he kind of, after a while, he walked away because he had to do his own thing, and it got taken up by a different company, you know. But once again, they brought in the old boys, and they tried to make it like how it was back, and that's what killed it.
You know what? The one thing that I did like about TNA was that 6-sided ring.
Yes,
I thought it was really cool.
that was genius. But when Hogan and the rest of the boys came over, we got to put it back to the 4-ring circle. You know what I mean? The 4-squared circle. So they got rid of the 6 rings. TNA, when they were coming up and had that 6 rings, if you want to see phenomenal matches, and this is not even a play on them, you watch AJ Styles
AJ Styles.
in
Yeah.
TNA wrestling, and that will show you what this man is capable of. And I don't think he's gone that far out with WWE. I understand you got to preserve the body, a little bit older, but you want to see why they call him Phenomenal One. You watch TNA wrestling, right? And AEW is got some.
WWE. No, the WWE, like when these other upstart companies, whatever, promotional companies came out, whatever you call wrestling companies. Anyways,
Yeah.
They would take their stars, they would offer them money, right? Take their stars, and then all of a sudden they wouldn't do anything. Like, but way back in the day, Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam made, okay,
ECW.
made-
Yes.
Exactly. Do the splits. Rob Van Dam. Then he got WWE. No splits, just Rob Van Dam. And then it's like slowly he just sunk, went nowhere, right?
Yeah,
They
but
did some kind of good stuff. Like, okay, yeah, they had China the first intercontinental first women intercontinental champion. Great. But then they take the career and stifle it. Some of these new guys, these newer, like you said, Barry, they like Samoa Joe. When I first saw Samoa Joe, I thought he was just a very angry man. Okay? But, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude walked into the ring. He looks like somebody just stole his, that's like, pierogi. He's walking into the ring like, I'm Samoa Joe. I ain't got to say nothing. You're getting it next. Like,
that man was so fucking intense.
right?
And
But
like,
talent.
not only would he not very talented and very agile for a large man, but not only would he kick the shit out of you, but he would stare a hole straight through your fucking chest while doing it.
Yes.
And it was almost like he didn't even fucking blink. It was just fucking insane.
You know what I'm saying? And that was the beauty. Because there were new characters. They weren't the same old. Because WWE fell into this routine of, okay, you're a big guy. Take this cane or this stick, and it's your gimmick, and use it, and use it, and use it, and use it, and use it. It's 3 years down the line, you'll be WWE champion, and use it, and use it.
But that's the other thing, because I think with WWE, and I mean, like, you know what? Let's give credit where credit is due. Okay? Wrestling would not be as popular today with all these organizations and everything else without the WWF.
Yes.
No. Agreed.
You know,
I mean,
like, for everything that he's done wrong in the business,
You've done a lot of right.
and for everybody that he's fucked over in the business, you know, he was genius to get it to that point and
Well,
have it.
But let's talk about that history. His dad, when his dad had it, his dad was old school. It was okay. We're gonna go town to town to town, and we're gonna go town to town to town. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have one big champion, and every time we do our circuit, we'll change champions. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have tag team champions. Great. His dad was great, but you know, Dave, you're right, because McMahon said, Dad, let's cut out town to town to town. Let's go into the video age.
Well,
let's record the best matches and resell them.
Yeah, but
McMahon was smart. He had his he's a very smart man. I'm not taking anything away from him.
No, but I'm saying the whole town to town thing you were saying is not so much that that's what his father was doing, right? Vince McMahon Sr. That's how it was set up. Everybody had their territory. So you go across all of Canada, all the US, and even Canada, they had their individual territories run by certain wrestlers here and there. So they always had to go and parlay into that. The person that really broke that, and he was a fighting champion, Ric Flair. Ric Flair went to everybody's territory, and he wrestled from one side.
Well, but that was part of the National Wrestling Alliance. That was the NWA.
Okay,
because I remember Ric Flair and Piper and Valentine and all them. They used to come up and wrestle at the Gardens under Maple Leaf Wrestling, and then they'd go out west and wrestle under Stampede Wrestling. And then they'd go into Quebec, and I know it was the Vachons doing it for a long time.
No, it was Edouard Carpentier and a guy named Killer Kowalski. They're the ones who really opened up the territory because they said, you know what, we know the guys, so let's have them come down, because Edouard Carpentier was a guy from like the 50s and 60s who really made it big, right?
Yeah, but there's one guy from Montreal, though. He was on Dark Side of the Ring. They did a story because he got caught up with the mafia. Bruno
Gino Brito, as you know him. Gino Brito was very big guy out in Montreal.
That was the name.
He did work as a booster for the mob.
What was the name of the promotion?
Oh, his promotion.
Because in Ontario, Maple Leaf Wrestling, out west it was Stampede Wrestling.
I can't remember
right now. Let me ask the computer.
But that's what
because I could never remember Quebec, but I remember having
Dino Bravo.
all those.
Dino Bravo.
Dino Bravo. And
right.
the Vachons and
oh my God, Mad Dog Vachon. When you had Dino Bravo, he was running that territory. I can't remember what it was called, but when he went into WWE, they didn't know how to use his character. They put him with Jimmy Hart to give him like a boost. He dyed his hair like bleach blonde kind of thing. And that was more on the downside of his career. And then it went from there. But so hold on. So we all have our wrestling background. What storyline did you like? What storyline popped out to you at any age, even from years ago to now? From any promotion that you liked with a particular wrestler, and why? What pops to mind? When I say wrestling, who comes to mind?
Oh, one guy.
Who?
And one guy. We call him Jean Ferret, but everybody knows him as Andre the Giant. This guy was phenomenal. There's a story, a true story, Montreal. He goes out and he gets drunk, walks into a bar. Yes. Because Andre the Giant, he drank, right? But anyways, this guy could down a keg by himself. But anyways, he goes into a bar now and he's just sitting around. It's, he's getting ready to leave the next day and he's drinking. So all these guys, hey, show us how strong you are. And Big Jean, leave me alone, please. I don't wish, please don't bother me. Buy them around little. He's trying to be nice to the guys. So one of the smallest guys goes up and goes, I don't think you're so tough, and punches him. Turns around, tells the guy, don't do that, don't touch me because I will hurt you. Okay? Anyways, gets to the point where this guy is mad. They're pissing themselves because they're behind a pool table. He walks over, moves the pool table and says, outside. They run outside, they get in the car. He goes outside, proceeds to flip the car over on its side with that minute, and he's punching at the car. And then finally, the guys, no, let's get out of here. Alexander goes, no, Jean, let's go because the police going to be here. The police came down, found the car, like, what do we do? What do we do with that? put his back right or what was? And all the guys are like, it was a giant. He came out and he turned the car over. And they're like, yes, I'm sure Reja giant. Okay, maybe you should stop drinking too much. Huh? Love it. The story that I heard about him broke my heart. He was a beautiful, beautiful person. Yeah, man.
All right. Cool. What about yourself, Dave?
Okay, I'm gonna get squashed verbally. Go ahead, Dave.
No, you're not. Like, I mean, like, not really a storyline that was in wrestling. I mean, like, I've had a lot of run-ins with actual wrestlers, and not run-ins as in like, you know, I've had fights with them and that. There was when they used to come to Toronto, they used to come to Howard Johnson down on the airport strip. And my father was a police officer in the area, so he'd always, you know, every time one of them would start acting up and whatnot, he'd fucking wind up at the hotel. And there was one day he was telling me that, you know, that Randy Savage was like freaking out because somebody stole his luggage.
Macho Man, yes.
Yeah.
And my dad's trying to take the statement, and he's doing the whole, you know, and Dad's just kind of like, you know, do you really want me to write this down?
Oh, yeah.
And he's losing his shit or whatnot. And then all of a sudden my dad hears a voice behind him going, Randy, calm the fuck down. Okay? You know Canadians aren't going to steal your luggage. They're very nice people. They like having us here. Okay? So just shut up. My dad turns around and it was George the Animal Steel.
Oh, wow.
He was just like, I've seen your persona. But when he retired from wrestling, he became an English teacher.
Yep.
And he was he was a professor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like years later when I started working in security and whatnot, we got the security company that I was working for got the contract to work the WCW Monday Nitro. They came up and was going to be at the Arcade Center, and I wasn't allowed to go
because of your size.
That's right. 6 feet 4 inches tall, about 300 pounds. Guess what? Can't make the wrestlers look small. You have to stay home.
Oh,
it's like, you're fucking kidding me.
That's the worst, man.
Son of a bitch.
Oh. Okay.
But I want to say something. I want to say something about Dave. To the fans out there, people that are watching this. Anybody who sees Dave, okay, Dave is a gentle giant. But if you see Dave and he's really concentrated getting ready to go on stage, you're like, just don't make Dave mad. Just don't make him mad. Just look the other way. Look the other way.
I've had incidents where so here's a shock. I used to be a bouncer.
Never saw that coming.
And I had an incident one year and I know this is completely off topic, but still. I had an incident one year on St. Patrick's Day where I was throwing this guy out. And it was in a rather large bar, right? Like, fucking long. It took me like 10 minutes to get him to the door because I wasn't going to, I just wasn't going to, like, give in. You know, I told him he had to leave. He wanted to fight me, you know, and just did everything in his power to get me to swing at him. You know, he's flicking me in the face. He's like poking me. You know, he's asking me if my boyfriend knows that I work here and if he's scared for me. And, blah, blah, blah. And like, even like, I'm just, yeah, whatever. Just get out. Come on, let's go. Get out. Get out. And the whole time I'm like, I'm taking off my watch and I'm dropping it with a server. I take off my cell phone and I leave it with another server. And I'm just like, yeah, it's because I know he's going to go.
Right.
I know that he wants to go and everything else. And I got him up to the door and everything. And the general manager was behind me. And I was manager at this point in time. So I had hired guys to come in and do security work. And they were all kind of like, well, he's really being really calm about this. I'm worried.
Calm before the storm.
To the point where even right before I got into the door, he kissed me. Like, just nothing. Just, okay, you're done. Come on. Time to go. And then he turned around and he slapped me. So
Apparently, blackout.
And I can only say apparently because the description was, I don't know, he took a step, he picked him up by the throat, and he threw him to the door saying, you better be prepared to kill me. and then I got jumped by the 6 security guards that I fucking hired for the night. Because they all knew I was going. So I was so angry. I was so just like pissed. Go back through the bar, and there's those 2 doors, right? One in, one out from the kitchen. And I popped the one open, and I took a step in and just punched a freezer, stainless steel freezer. And all you could hear was the chef who was chopping vegetables going, don't make fucking eye contact. Don't make fucking eye contact with him. Just let him go. Just let him go. Don't fucking do anything. Don't look up. I dented the freezer and I moved it. And then I went out for a cigarette and I calmed down. But, and I told you this story because it's funny when everybody's like, oh, wrestling's so fake. You know, wrestling is so fake. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I've hit things, and I've hit things that shouldn't be hit. And I've hit people, and people have hit me. And guess what? I felt it. You know, I had a roommate that was so into the X-Files.
Okay.
Right. And he was sitting there and he's like, this stuff's real. And then I'd be watching wrestling. He was like, this stuff's fake, you know. I'm like, really? Because let's see what happens. I'm going to punch you in the face and see if an alien comes to help you out.
You see, my show was, I like the X-Files, but my show was the Lone Gunman, the spinoff of that. That not many people remember that particular show. Ran for 1 season, but
yeah, because it was only on for a season, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I like that one. But back on topic for the wrestling, man, glad I was in that fridge. What stands out for me was there's multiple storylines, multiple wrestlers, but at one time you were following the WWE. Me and my brother would watch it every Monday night Raw, Thursday night SmackDown. And they haven't come to Montreal in about 10 years, right? This is when we're living in Montreal. So the last time they were there was at Montreal Screwjob. And they didn't come for 10 years after that, right? So tickets...
Because they weren't allowed.
Well, that's it, because people didn't want them there. So they were going on tour, and they said, okay, we're going to test the market. We're going to go to Montreal again at the Montreal Forum, which is now the AMC Theater Center downtown. And my brother's like, hey, let's go and get tickets, right? So, shout out to me and my brother. My brother is like, really? So my brother Brian looked it up, and he goes, Barry, man, tickets are really, really cheap. Because I thought they'd be really expensive. And I'm like, well, how cheap are you talking to tickets? And we paid, I think, like $30 or $40 for almost like front row seats. We were, by the time we bought our tickets, we were the 10th row or 12th row from the ring altogether. So that's including the ones on the floor, and then we were on the little bit of the incline. So we had great seats. If you watch it, that
so
particular
just
night,
behind the boards.
Yeah. So you had the boards, then you would have people sitting on the floor, and then it would start the incline, and we were just there at the incline at the beginning of it. So we had no one obstructing our view. So we had a great, view of the ring, the wrestlers coming in, even the ones that were lost, and then how they have to kind of walk out so they wouldn't kind of disturb the cameras. It was an amazing night. So they shot Raw, and then they shot SmackDown right after, right, to air later on. So we watched, Raw was done live on Monday, and it was, the beauty of it was that was when Stone Cold was playing a villain, but he was teamed up with Kurt Angle, who was playing kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So Kurt Angle was always talking about, oh yeah, Austin, and he was always drinking milk with Deborah Michaels, who was there, Deborah, because she was just dating Austin and all that. So Austin wasn't wrestling; he was just coming out doing promos because his knees were shot, but he was still showing up. The biggest pop of that night that even surprised these two wrestlers was, wrestlers are coming out and they're doing their matches and people were cheering them on. And then anytime, let's say, I'm not sure if Vince was there. No, Vince wasn't there, but someone else came out and they would say, "You screwed Brett, you screwed Brett," and people yelling EC dub for like W for WV. So, they're saying all that. But the biggest reaction was for the APA, Farouk and Bradshaw.
Wow.
The APA Protection Agency.
Love
right?
those guys.
These two guys came out, and as soon as they go, oh, here's they brought out the first
Light Protection Agency.
Exactly. They had the big. No, keep in mind, Triple H was there. The Rock was there. The Rock almost got booed. Like he got mixed reviews of being booed and cheered at the same time, right? Every wrestler was kind of getting their cheers, but the biggest pop of the night was APA hits the runway. People are, oh! Like people lost their minds for the Acolytes. They walked down the ring. They did a phenomenal match. They beat the shit out of who they had to fight. Yeah. They walked up to the match, and at one point, they got there. Bradshaw is like about to walk off, and Farouk stops him, and he says, "You see, like they're stunned. They're actually in shock." He's like, "Hey man, turn around." Yeah! Right. They put their hands down. They put them up again. Yeah! Every time they threw their hands in the air, the crowd lost it. They were chanting their names. I don't think they've ever, in my opinion, ever got a reaction like that bigger than Triple H, The Rock, and Austin. And Austin wasn't wrestling. Right? And then at the end of the night, you're supposed to be out of the venue by a certain time. So Austin comes out the night to kind of ham it out with the crowd. And he's out there playing, the thing with Kurt Angle. The crowd is loving it. He's not wrestling. He's just out there talking. He's got a guitar. He's singing. He's playing in character. And then at one point, the camera stopped and he keeps going. Austin turned around and he goes, "Look, I know they want us out of here, but you guys came to pay some money to see this son of a bitch. I'm going to keep going if you want me to keep going." Yeah! Austin stayed about maybe an hour after the cameras were done rolling. They're trying to pack up the ring. Austin's still walking around the ring with all the fans in there, and he's still interacting with people and talking and joking around and still being the Austin character. And even if you watch an interview with him after, he goes, "I know I couldn't wrestle, but I like staying after to give the people their money's worth." Right? So it was a huge success. Of course, now they come back a couple of months later. Those same tickets were about $150. But for the APA to get that recognition on that Monday Night Raw, like it shocked them. And it even shocked me that many people, but I think it's like, wait a minute, this is Montreal. All we like to do is kick ass and drink beer. So the APA was a perfect fit for us.
But you know what I like about the APA? It's when they came out. You guys remember Harlem Heat?
Of course.
The Sidewalk Slam?
No. Yes.
No. Okay. It's when the APA came out. It's when you see Bradshaw walking towards the ring, like somebody just told him his mama was a bitch. Okay. And Farouk, I remember the first time I saw these guys. Okay. I don't know who they wrestled, but they beat the shit out of these motherfuckers. Like literal shit was coming out. I love them because when they came out to the ring, there was and coming to the ring. They need no introduction. By the time the guy got to the last letter, Farouk is killing somebody in the fucking corner, and Bradshaw's stalking. He's just stalking this person. Bam! Bam! I sat there. I swear to God, the first time I saw this guy, I was like, I want to look away, but I can't. Jesus Christ, it was good. It was good. That's what violence was good, damn it.
I've always been a huge fan of Ron Simmons.
What's that?
I've always been a huge fan of Ron Simmons.
Yes.
Because he, he hasn't changed much since Doom,
Ever.
I guess. Because he was in Doom, wasn't he? Wasn't that
Yes.
his first one?
Yeah, yeah.
It was him and Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Yep. And then a lot of people remember him, the Nation of Domination, with him and my man D'Lo Brown.
Well, see, I wasn't too thrilled with that because I just thought that was stupid, like the whole Nation and everything else, and like with the when he first came in, he was the they gave him that fucking Spartan, that.
Oh yeah.
Spartan.
No, I wasn't big run-on person with that one, and even the Nation of Domination, it was okay for me. It was really the APA that him and Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Me and Bradshaw took off, man. That just.
And I think a lot of it was because a lot of it, like how this show works, is because they were able to just be themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So what gimmicks do you think did not work? Because okay, we know wrestling all has a gimmick. Everyone seems to have a character, and you hope that character gets over. I think certain productions, push, like the WWE, WWF, however they work. Yeah, they really push character all the time. Where I find some of the other ones, they kind of let the wrestler be the wrestler, right? So this is why I'm liking AEW, and right now, because I think they're still in that mold of we have to make a character. So so the Nation Domination didn't work for me. DX worked for me with the New Age Outlaws. APA worked for me, right? Look at Kane. When Kane first came in, he was what? The dentist?
Yeah. Doctor
right?
Something.
Yeah. That didn't work for me.
Isaac Yankum.
Right. Exactly. Isaac Yankum. That didn't work for me. The other guy, IRS, that didn't work for me. But he eventually got to the same different people, but Dr. Isaac Yankum got to be Kane. That's when he worked for me. So which ones did you not work for you?
I didn't like IRS either. Mm-hmm. Mostly because I remember it was Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, like when they did, when Barry Windham came back and he was the Widowmaker.
Okay.
It was kind of like, they completely fucked Kerry Von Erich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Von Erichs had a rough go. That whole family.
I understand that, but even still, just the whole Texas tornado, and he's just let him go out, be Kerry Von Erich, and fucking what was the other guy's name there? He was the Red Rooster for a while.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I can't remember those guys.
Yeah, I can't. But that was the thing. They took a lot of good wrestlers from other organizations and just kind of fucked them.
Yeah, because they don't want to lose them to anybody else. And then they got there and it's like, I don't know what to do with you or how to write you.
Everybody that they took from ECW.
Yes. Yeah, and the same thing with WCW. Like the only, one of the people that stand out was okay, Booker T. Booker T at the time just got the heavyweight belt. First time you've seen a person of really dark color having that, and then it got bought by WWE. I think WWE with King Booker, he did well. I liked it when he came over. I was, I saw that Booker T was going there. I always was a fan of Harlem Heat. They broke up the tag team, but he did well. His brother decided to quit and kind of do a school and for wrestling. But as I said, some of the weirder ones, even was it Doink the Clown? I wasn't a big. I know there's 3 people that were Doink, but the first one, even though he was out there, I never really sat with me.
No, there were 2 guys. I think one guy who could have had a great career,
right,
was Sid Vicious.
Oh my God, Psycho Sid. Yes.
They did nothing with him. They did nothing with him. I mean,
And
Hulk Hogan was the only big man there. He was overshadowed by Hogan because Hogan always had to be champion. But Psycho Sid, and there was another guy called Gangrel. That's it, Gangrel.
Yeah, of course. He's still around.
They built him up. He's still around. They built him up, and then nothing, like silence. One other guy that I didn't like was Goldust. I just couldn't get into Goldust.
Yeah, but in AEW, if you find a match between him and his brother, right? So both they did a brother versus brother match. Oh my gosh, Dave, you have to look this match up. It was one of their pay-per-views. It was the match of the year. Hands down. Hands down. They tore the fucking house down on AEW, and they really set that place on fire that night. But once again, McMahon looked at it like he did with Macho Man, he did with Goldust. These are guys that really can wrestle. And he was like, well, you're getting kind of old. I got to kind of move you out and bring the young guys in. You know, I think he's kind of stuck in his ways. Not knocking him. He's done a lot of great. Go ahead.
Somebody else that they fucked over huge. And you just brought when you said Macho Man and Goldust, I thought about it. Shane Douglas.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Phenomenal wrestler. That guy actually has he could really yap with the best of them. They never allowed him to do anything. It's like they clipped his wings right away.
I think
he had
me
two
personally,
good matches, and then that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. No, you know who else? You know who else? They kind of like just God rest his soul. I'm not gonna talk about any of the tragedy, but Chris Benoit.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Chris Benoit was one of the most phenomenal wrestlers. Because
him and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, done deal.
Okay,
done
even still,
deal.
Dean Malenko.
Yes.
They did absolutely nothing with him.
No, he's working behind the scenes on talent and all that. He's very technical. Perry Saturn. Like, look, those four guys, when they came over from WCW into WWE, I thought that's it. We have a new stable. I've seen them all wrestle on WCW. These guys can wrestle. They're great on the mic, and they were just about to shine. And when they hit WWE, Eddie Guerrero took right off. Like, he started building himself up. Same thing with Chris Benoit. He started taking himself right up. Dean Malenko was getting kind of ready to retire-ish, so he was kind of holding back, but this guy could wrestle. I wish they would have said, no, we have you here. We really want to use you for 2 years. Let's commit to a storyline before you retire. I know you're looking to retire. Mm-hmm. Give us 2 solid years. And they had to figure out something to do with Perry Saturn. Perry Saturn was a weird one. He went through his downfall was he tried to do good. He could wrestle. He's still around now. He's almost going to be homeless again. He's got a Kickstarter up. So what happened is he went and he came out of a bar, and these 2 guys or 3 guys were forcing themselves on this girl. Perry went over, literally got the guys off to save the girl, and then he got shot. Because he got shot, he ended up being on painkillers because of that. And then he just went weird, and he got hooked on painkillers, then got hooked on other drugs. Ended up homeless. Nobody knew where he was. Then they found him because he kind of shown up here and there. So he's going through some major health problems. He doesn't look the same anymore. It's got to be more to it than that. But when those 4 came over and they had him on the magazine cover, was it Revolution or what they're calling him?
They were calling him Revolution.
Right. Was it Revolution?
I think so.
And they came over. I was ready. Pardon me?
Evolution.
No, Evolution is someone different. Right. They started with an R. Evolution is with Triple H, Dave Bautista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair. That was Evolution. Okay. But when those 4 came over, I'm like, I go, good luck, DX. It's on. I thought for sure that's who they're going to be gunning for, and the matches at
sorry. Right. But Barry, remember back in the day, back in Montreal, you and me, Barry and I saw these guys, okay, when we started watching WCW. And I came into school on Monday morning, and Barry and I saw each other at the locker, and I just did this. I said, Barry.
The 4 horsemen.
The 4 horsemen. What? Oh, Arn Anderson. I see Arn Anderson get in the ring. He jumps over the top rope. This guy runs at Arn Anderson, tries to knock him down. Arn Anderson tries that again and beat the shit out of this guy. Dude, like the Four Horsemen. The Four Horsemen. What?
And then
what?
And then what is it? Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard come over to the WWE, and they're the Mindbusters.
I think so. Yeah. And speaking of Tully, he's in AEW mentoring FTR tag team.
Nice.
Like
but that's the thing. You take Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, and you do nothing.
Right? Well, we all know this is why I think, be it good or bad, depending how you want to look at it. To me, I think it was a good thing when Nash and Hall jumped over to WCW. I think when they started that whole ratings war, WCW Nitro, the Outsiders, they opened up, I think, the eyes to fans and seeing how wrestlers were treated, how they were not getting paid on certain things and not getting their dues. And it really opened up that, I know some people see it as a bad thing. I think it was a great thing with WCW.
No, it was a great thing. It was a great thing. But after a while, remember they started the Wolfpack?
Yeah, right. But even before that, right, it was
everybody wanted to be part of
that. That was the mistake. It was too many people.
The one person that the McMahon thought would never leave him because he always gave him his way, but he never paid him properly. Hulk Hogan. When he left and he took Macho Man with him, McMahon started to shit his pants. And one guy that McMahon took and ruined Goldberg. When you heard that on a Saturday morning at the end of WCW, you knew somebody was gonna get hurt. You knew somebody was gonna get bad. I remember Goldberg. I remember they strapped him to a bus. My man stands up and he's trying to pull himself off the bus, rips off the fender. I'm like, oh shit! Rips off the other fender. Oh, we gotta go to commercial. I was like, no. One of the best. Oh man, one of the best characters ever made.
One of the best from, I think it was one of the Nitros, was seeing Kevin Nash throw Rey Mysterio like a dart.
Yeah.
Over the side.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow.
See, to get back to your 2 points. So, talking about Goldberg, what I liked about Goldberg, his entrance was there. He was intense. He got in the ring. Boom, boom, boom. You knew what you're about to see. The only thing I didn't like about Goldberg is, up to now, I still don't think Goldberg can wrestle. He's got 2 moves, and I think that's it. Spear, holds you up, drops you, that's it. You put him in a match that's got to go 20 minutes, Goldberg can't do it. He doesn't have the skill set to do it. I don't know why he never invested in himself to learn more, to make himself a better career. If he did it, I think he would have had more. Pardon me?
He was a football player who didn't want to do football anymore. Something got cut.
Yeah, but
he came in at a time when he was a big man.
Brock Lesnar? Like, hasn't he fought Brock Lesnar?
He fought Brock Lesnar. Okay,
yeah, but
in the WWE. But Goldberg, okay, does sambo wrestling. Okay, this is Russian wrestling. Okay, he knows how to throw a kick. He knows how to throw punches. But Barry's right. As a technical entertainment wrestler, he's not technical entertainment. He literally KO'd. Okay, what's his name? The Canadian wrestler.
Bret Hart.
Oh my God.
No.
He KO'd Bret Hart. Gave him a concussion because Bret Hart was standing up, and the move was supposed to be Bret Hart stands up and runs at him, right? And he gets stopped by a sidekick. Well, doesn't Goldberg step into the sidekick? He doesn't just raise his leg. And you see it. You see
Bret Hart got him back, though.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart got him back. He pulled the good, the bad, the ugly, like Clint Eastwood did. He jumped in the ring. He saw Goldberg. Goldberg came charging toward him. Ping! Goldberg knocked himself out. Bret Hart gets up and drops a steel plate that he had underneath his shirt. But see, Goldberg wasn't technical. He couldn't carry that match you're talking about, Dave. Was not a good match to watch. The match that he did with Undertaker, it was so hyped up, and when the match came about, if you even listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast when Undertaker's on, he did not like that match. He said that was not the match he wanted to end on.
What? I think Undertaker should really just stay down. Like, dude,
well, he's retired now. He's 100% retired. No comebacks. He did his last run. He did a documentary living up to it. He's had his career. He knows he's done. The body's done. He's done. He's good. You know. And going back to your point, Dave, when you mentioned the Outsiders, what I liked about the Outsiders when they hit WCW at the beginning, when it was just Hall and Nash, every match they got into, they never cheated. Usually, and that's what bugs me, is as soon as you become a heel, you always have to cheat to win. And I think that gets a little bit played out as time goes on. It was nice to see some bad guys come in there, say, we're going to fight, we're going to beat you, and no gimmicks, no cheap shots, and they won the matches. That's what really stood out to me for the Outsiders. For those first couple of matches, they're like, here's our first official match. Okay, and they won, and no one can dispute the win. It was like, oh, the ref didn't see that. Oh, they should have done this. It's like, no, they walked in there, kicked your ass, and said, okay, send me more.
But speaking of that, Scott Hall.
Right.
Oh, God. This guy was the man. He had Magnum, Tom Selleck, Magnum looks when he first started. And he didn't build that. Yeah, big man. Then he became Razor Ramon. That's when his career really took off, okay?
Yep.
But then the alcohol. He came to cover the alcohol. And when he couldn't, you know.
The alcohol, the drugs, But
party life.
And that was part of the
Lord.
What was the Jake the Snake documentary?
Oh, living with living with demons or something like that. Yeah. I saw a part of it, and
like the Jake the Snake redemption.
Oh, right, yeah.
He ended up with DDP doing yoga and whatnot.
Right. But good on DDP though. He saved a lot of these guys right now, and it's nice to see that. Yeah. When you watch AEW, Jake the Snake Roberts is there because he's a mentor to a different wrestler, you know, and he's there on a regular basis. Taz is there with his own team, Team Taz, along with his son. You know, and then who is there? Tully is there. Sting is there right now with this other guy who I like a lot, Darby Allin.
I saw Jake post the other day on Twitter saying that it's been a year now that he's been with AEW. So good for him.
They're getting over wrestlers that really can help the newer talent to bring them up. And I said, for myself, but you know, my last point here is right now I'm a huge fan of Darby Allin. There's Darby Allin in AEW and Orange Cassidy. These are two guys you have to watch. Darby Allin's come from an independent circuit. He's been there for a couple of years, and he's teamed up with Sting. So he comes in with the face paint, always in black. Comes in with a skateboard. Very slim guy, but his work is phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then Orange Cassidy is another one, a very slim guy. Doesn't say a word. He always seems like he's a slacker. He doesn't, you know, he comes in there, he's like, oh no, Orange Cassidy's going in for his triple kicks. And he just taps you on your shins with his hands in his pocket. But when you go to hit him, he's ducking. He's jumping off his back. He's doing all these moves with his hands in his pocket. He's jumping off the third rope with his hands in his pocket and hitting people. And he gets up, he's kind of... He's got that much talent. That's who I'm going to say there with. So
now I got something to look forward to.
Yes.
I'm going to have to get into that.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. I am done because 4 o'clock came really early and it's going to come early again.
Oy.
Yeah, I know. It sucks getting old, but we do it. So
drugs.
Oh, fuck.
Oh man.
Good night, everybody. Remember, there's a lot of good people out in the world. If you can't find one, be one.
Woo! Shivers every time from my man's off.